Hey, what's up everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. It is that time of the month, time to talk about my favorite albums that were just released this past month, June of 2025. Lately when I've been doing these videos, I've been trying to limit to just 15 albums, but this month was absolutely stacked. I was having a really hard time narrowing this down to 15 because there was just so much goodness that came out this month. So I'm going to do a top 20 for you, and that's not even including the new release by Psy, because it was a re-recording of a previous album by them. I'm not going to include that. I'm only including new material, but definitely go check that out anyways, because it's a killer re-release, if you will. But yeah, because I'm including some extra albums here, doing a top 20 instead of a top 15, I'm going to rip through the first 10 fairly quickly, maybe not going into as much detail, but then I'll spend some more time talking about each of the albums in my top 10. So without further ado, let's just get into this. Let's talk about 20 great albums that came out this past month. And as usual, I want your picks down below. Let me know which albums I missed. I'm always looking to explore more new music. So let me know which albums you can't believe I didn't include and which ones I should go definitely check out. So here we go. Kicking off the list, I'm going with Aeon Winds and their new album, An Ode to the Mountains. So this band is from Slovakia. This is some symphonic, atmospheric black metal. They really take you on a journey with these songs. It's full of drama, but yet it's full of great riffs as well. All in all, a very solid atmospheric black metal album that you should go check out. Up next, going with Autumn Nostalgie and their album Metanoia. So sticking with the country of Slovakia this time, that's 2 in a row from Slovakia. This band, compared to Aeon Wind, this one is more on the post-black metal side of things. It's got some depressive elements, ambient elements as well. It's got these really nice, like, soft passages interspersed with the more aggressive black metal and harsher tones. But I like the variation that it has from song to song and just the different emotions that this type of music brings out. So all in all, another album from Slovakia that you should go check out. Now we're going to switch it up a little bit and go with some death metal with Inhuman Condition and the new album Mind Trap. So this is some USA death metal, very much a tribute to like the early 90s, late 80s Florida death metal scene, even includes some veterans from that scene. So this album is a ton of fun. I can't really take it too serious because it's very lacking originality. Like, it doesn't sound original at all. Even the songwriting is not too varied. It's not too unique, but it's a very headbangable album that's just a ton of fun. So if you're kind of just looking for some mindless old school death metal, this album will probably be right up your alley. It's definitely a lot of fun to listen to. Up next, going with Fairyland and the new album The Story Remains. So this is some French symphonic power metal. I hold the debut album by this band in pretty high regard. I think it's a classic in the genre. Maybe their career has not held up to that standard that they set on the debut. They brought in a new vocalist on this album. To me, I'm not sure if he's the best fit, to be honest. I'm not loving his vocals yet. But that being said, this is still some pretty decent power metal overall, and there's still some standout tracks here. So I don't want it to sound too negative. I'm still enjoying this album. I don't think it's a classic like their early stuff, but nonetheless, it's a solid dose of power metal. Up next, going with a legendary band with Sodom and the new album, The Arsonist. So German thrash metal legends need no introduction here. I am sure you are all very familiar with Sodom, but they are still going strong after all these years. At this point in their career, it's not really anything you haven't heard from them before, but overall, this is a pretty decent album. It's fun to hear these songs and to know that these legends are still putting out material this strong, just full of solid thrash tunes. All in all, I enjoy this album quite a bit. I'm not putting it higher because there's some more albums that stand out a little bit more to me that maybe are a little more unique, but nonetheless, to get this much of a quality album from these guys at this stage in their career, no complaints from me. All right, moving it into the top 15 now, and up next, I'm going with something that arguably is this even metal? I don't know, but I'm including it anyways because I dig it, and that is Dolvin with their album In My Grave, Silence. So this is an acoustic band, but I'll classify them as acoustic doom. So I think there's still enough here to classify them as metal, but I don't care about genre tags. This is just a good album. This what drew my attention to this band is that it features the bassist from Egor, and this is a very gentle approach to doom, but yet the melancholy really permeates this whole thing. It's really unique. I don't know of too many other like purely acoustic doom metal bands, but they really pull it off here, and it draws you in with the sorrow, and you're just gonna feel the emotion in the music. Really unique and outstanding stuff. Up next, some more death metal with Gruesome and their new album Silent Echoes. So this is some US old school death metal, but at this point in their career, they are going in a much more progressive death metal direction. This is essentially a death tribute band. Like their first album that they released was pretty much a tribute to the leprosy era of the band. Then they had an album that was a tribute to the spiritual healing era of the band. And now this is a tribute to the album Human. So I will say maybe they played a little bit too close to the original material here. Like there's riffs that sound pretty much like a knockoff. But I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of this band. Obviously, I love death. And this features Matt Harvey from Exhumed, which is one of my favorite death metal bands. So I'm always going to check out anything they do. They're a great live band. This is still very enjoyable. But would I ever go listen to this as opposed to listening to Human? Probably not, and to be honest, I'd rather get a new Exhumed album than maybe a new Gruesome album, but nonetheless, it's still enjoyable if you just want some progressive-leaning death metal in the style of Death's Human. They execute it pretty flawlessly. Up next, going with Returning and their new album, Numinous. So this is some USA atmospheric black metal, Cascadian black metal, if you will. This has very long and winding songs. I mean, this is 3 tracks. That's like 45 minutes. It has some folky touches thrown in there as well. I will say this album has a lot of great moments, but it also has some spots that maybe don't rise up to the occasion, that don't match the quality of other spots. Like the middle track here kind of just meanders for quite a long time and kind of loses the focus a little bit. But the first and third tracks here are pretty strong. I would say this would be for fans of bands like Wolves in the Throne Room or Alda, kind of elements of both of those bands. Of course, classifying as Cascadian black metal, you kind of know the approach that they're going for here. But yeah, I think this band has some promise. They didn't quite execute a flawless album here, but nonetheless, there's enough here to like that I think you should go check it out. Up next, going with Patristic and the new album Catechesis. Might be mispronouncing that, I don't know. This is Italian blackened death metal. This album is just heavy as hell. What really stands out here is the drumming. So if you just want some relentless double kicks and blast beats with some really interesting fills, definitely go check out this album. It is just relentless and crushing. Absolutely killer stuff here. If anything I said sounds like it might be up your alley, don't skip this one. Definitely go check it out. Up next, in 11th, I'm going with the Lazer Throne and the album Tomb of the Lunar Oracle. So this is some USA cosmic atmospheric black metal. When you hear that, you know you're going to be getting some really long songs to really just suck you into the void. This takes you on a cosmic journey through the stars, but through the lens of black metal. I know there's a lot of bands trying their hand at this cosmic black metal. Is this one on par with like the greats in the genre? Maybe not yet, but there's a lot to like here. I'm really liking the vibe with how they bring in the ambiance and atmosphere, and a lot of these riffs are really great as well. So all in all, this is a pretty decent offering. Just missed out on my top 10, but that's just because this month is absolutely stacked. So before we get into my 10 favorites of the month, I'm just going to take a sip of water, and then we're going to see what order I've got them in. All right, here we go. Kicking it off in 10th place, going with Lord Belial and their new album Unholy Trinity. Some Swedish black metal. I've been a longtime fan of this band. It was a treat when they returned a few years back with a new album. I didn't think we were ever going to get new music from them, and this one kind of picks up right where that previous album left off. I will say it's not quite like on the level of their classics like Enter the Moonlight Gate. If you've never listened to that, go listen to that album because that's a goddamn classic, an underrated classic at that. So I will say this one doesn't quite stand out to me like that album does, or even some of their other earlier albums. But this one is still a pretty solid dose of Swedish style black metal. They've been veterans in the scene for a long time, and they're still putting out solid album. Definitely go check it out, and go give their whole discography a listen, because you will not be disappointed. Up next in 9th, going with Professor Emeritus with their album A Land Long Gone. So I might be mispronouncing that band name. That's a very strange band name. I don't know why they chose that. But nonetheless, this is some USA epic heavy metal, epic doom. Even though they've got a weird band name, this album kicks a lot of ass. It's full of very memorable songs. I'd say their influences seem to like run the gamut from stuff like Candlemass all the way to stuff like Omen or Manila Road. Like they kind of have some sprinkles of all these different elements in their sound. You've got the soaring vocals with some great riffs, and it's just epic and overall a very solid album. So if anything I said there sounds like you might want to give it a listen, go check them out. Don't judge them by their name alone. Up next in 8th, we're going to go with some power metal with Insania and the new album, The Great Apocalypse. So this is some Swedish power metal. This is another band that I've been a fan of for a long time. This would be for fans of bands like Stratovarius or Gamma Ray. You can hear the influences from both of those bands in their sound. It's just epic and melodic as hell. It's a really fun album. Like I will say, their best albums from back in the day, like Sunrise in Riverland or Fantasy: A New Dimension, those are standout power metal albums. Will I go back to this one as much as I listen to those classics? Probably not, but this is a pretty fun album. It's got great melodic guitar parts, nice vocals and choruses that you're going to sing along to, and it's just a catchy power metal album. So if you're unfamiliar with Insania, go check out their older albums, but then give their new one a listen as well. Up next in 7th, going to go with some Canadian content with Cryptopsy and their new album, An Insatiable Violence. So a band that should probably need no introduction at all. French-Canadian, brutal, technical death metal legends. You got Flo Monnier behind the drum kit, just still destroying the drums after all these years. I'll say after their last album, this is really giving them like a late career resurgence, whereas maybe their quality of their albums in their mid-career had kind of taken a hit. They're really rising back up here with the previous album, and now this one just absolutely crushing. It's so technical, like only Cryptopsy does. Like you hear this and it just sounds like Cryptopsy. No other band really sounds exactly like this, but they have thrown in a few new wrinkles as well. There's some really tasteful solos sprinkled in here and there, and just all in all, like the vocals kick ass, the drums kick ass. It's gonna just blow your eardrums out. Awesome death metal record in 7th place. Up next in 6th, I'm going with Belenos, the new album Egor. So this is a one-man black metal project from France. What I love about this album is the amount of sheer variation from song to song. Like it doesn't even necessarily sound like the same style from song to song. You've got a song that almost brings in a death metal influence, and then you've got a more atmospheric black metal song, and it just keeps it engaging throughout its runtime. It's a very long album. It's over an hour long, but you don't really notice because of the flow of the album and these compositions. Like it's just so well put together within the songs, but also within the structure of the album as a whole to really keep it engaging. And I think this album is a triumph. Really killer stuff. Could have been in my top 5, but for today, it's in 6th place. And that means I got 5 more to go. My 5 favorite albums of the month. In 5th place, we're going to keep it epic here with Reflection on the new album, The Battles I Have Won. This is some epic heavy metal from Greece. I'm sure you can tell just from looking at this album art what you're in store for. I mean, you can pretty much just look at that and know what kind of music you're going to get. The Greeks really seem to like their heavy metal epic, and I'm all for it. I love Greek heavy metal. They just know what to do. There's got to be something in the water over there that is just putting out so many amazing bands. You've got great vocals here, songs that you're going to be singing along to. You are just going to be slaying your enemies, playing this music in your head. Just, yeah, a great epic metal album. Reflection, The Battles I Have Won. Up next in 4th, we're going with Darkenhold and their new album La Fleau de Rocher. So this is some French medieval black metal. I have been a long-time fan of this band. They never miss. Every single album is awesome, and this one is no exception, just adding another addition to their stellar discography. You've got the great melodic black metal riffing. They throw in some keys very tastefully. It's not overdone, just to add a little bit of that medieval atmosphere and a different vibe, to add some ambiance. And this is just, a very well done black metal album. You know what you're getting from these guys, but if you haven't listened to them before, please go check out all their stuff. All their albums kick ass, and go check out the new one to kickstart your journey into their discography if you have not listened to them before. All right, we got 3 more to go, and this is where it got really tough for me to pick the order. A lot of great albums this month, but I feel like the next 3 are a notch above everything else that I just mentioned. So for today, in 3rd place, I'm going with Fairyland with the new album Fires on the Mountainside. So this is some USA epic heavy metal. This brings in some touches of doom, even a sprinkle of epic black metal as well. This could be described as like Manowar meets the epic era of Bathory, meets Atlantean Codex, meets a band like Arab Altor. Like, you've got some elements of all those bands, but they're really doing their own unique sound here as well. It is just so damn epic and amazing. Like, if you've never heard this band before, just go listen to the title track here. 13-minute epic. Honestly, I think it could be the song of the year so far. It is so goddamn good. You listen to that, and if you're not into it, you're probably not going to like the album, but if you're into it, you're going to be in for a real treat. This one just came out this past Friday, so I haven't spent a ton of time with it, so putting it in 3rd for today, but who knows, in a couple more weeks or over the next few months, this could rise even higher. I am absolutely loving it so far, and as I spend more time with it, I could easily see this one climbing my list for the year. Up next in 2nd, an album that I was very eagerly anticipating, Helms Deep with their sophomore output, Chasing the Dragon. So this is some more heavy metal from the USA. I was a huge fan of their debut album that kind of came out of nowhere, and it just knocked my socks off. So when I heard that this album was coming out, I have been really highly anticipating it, and it did not let me down at all. It built on the foundation of that debut, but it's even thrown in some new wrinkles as well. It's got some sprinkles of progressive metal in there, just in a couple spots, but like the songwriter here is not afraid to try some different things out on that classic heavy metal base. Like, this is like a tribute to 80s heavy metal, but some different elements of it as well, even featuring like some 70s prog notions, if you will. The vocals and the guitar work here are top notch. Like, so many killer solos. I love the way the vocalist just hits these high notes, but he doesn't just sing in a high register. He likes to switch it up and have a lot of variation. I will say at this point, it's really hard to compare to the debut for which one I like better, because I've spent so much time with the debut. So obviously after only a couple weeks of listening to this one, I will need a lot more time, but I am absolutely loving it. You got standout tracks like Black Sephiroth, the title track Chasing the Dragon, Cursed. I could name like every song here. If I was to offer a nitpick, maybe the album is a little bit over long. It's just under an hour, and it ends with like a 7-minute instrumental. Not my choice for how to end such a great album. I would rather end on like a bang rather than an instrumental, but I don't want to complain too much because I absolutely love this band and I love this album, and I think you should definitely be going to check it out and buying the CD or the record, whatever choice you have, whatever format you prefer is what I'm trying to say. Helms Deep is goddamn amazing. Go give their album a listen. But that just leaves one. My favorite release of the month is another album that I was eagerly awaiting, and that is Valdrin with the new album Apex Violator. So this is some melodic black metal from the USA. It features a lot of keyboards as well to add this symphonic flair. And what I mostly love about this band is their like self-created lore that they base every one of their albums on. That's as important to their music as the music itself. It just really tells a story. It's been a concept over the course of their 5 releases. I'm planning on doing a whole like deep dive into their discography, like a video about their whole discography probably next month. But in the meantime, go check out this new release. This is probably their most aggressive release to date. I just absolutely love the black metal riffs and his vocals, and the keyboards just add this extra flair to it. This is only 30 minutes long, but it just punches you in the mouth and leaves you wanting more, which I absolutely adore. These guys are just absolutely killing it. Every release has been top-notch, gold standard stuff with every release. Honestly, I think one of the best black metal bands going at the moment. So if you haven't been following them, change that right now. Go listen to the new one and then go back and check out all their stuff. And you can look forward to a video on their whole discography on this channel, probably next month. But yeah, until then, I want all your picks for the month down below. Let me know what your favorites were. And yeah, you'll see me soon. So until then, Hammerheart Metal Reviews out.